What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Taryn Swears. As you're catching it on YouTube, you guys are getting the Taryn fresh out of the shower look. But for your sake, I did slap some makeup on. But if you're, listening on your favorite podcast platform, don't worry about it. But I'm here, just me and you today. Going to talk about when in doubt, blame it on the hormones. It's been a theme I found as of late in the last, really probably last year, right? I'm 44, right? I've got 4 kids. I've had hormones up the yin yang and it gone through all of it. I'm in perimenopause, not quite to menopause, hopefully not for a while. My symptoms every month come and go. I'm not on birth control or have anything that hinders me from getting a natural cycle. And I will say out of the gates, ladies, if you are on birth control of some sort and have the opportunity or the calling to get off of it, I highly recommend you work with your medical provider. Don't do it on your own to wean yourself off. If you have an IUD, or are on some sort of birth control, I highly recommend it as you get older to get yourself off of it. There are other measures to not get pregnant if that is your goal, or that's the reason why you're on it. Research is coming out in the droves, and I think it's been out for a long time. It's just been padded, it's been shoved under the rug. And it's really telling what the long-term effects of birth control have had on women's hormones as we get older. I can't tell you how many clients I've had over the years that have endometriosis, PCOS, cyst on their ovaries, painful periods. I mean, you name it, and maybe you're sitting there going, oh yeah, that's me. And I have this XYZ. So many things have been rooted from the amount of hormones, the synthetic hormones that we've been exposed to, especially if you're my generation and you got on birth control in your teens, whether to regulate your period or because you were sexually active, whatever. And they've just fucked with our system. How many of you guys have suffered from infertility? It's heart-wrenching, and just the health ramifications that we are now understanding and realizing, and the attachment to infertility and all of these hormonal deficiencies that we're experiencing. A lot of it goes back to the years that we've been on these hormones. And with any luck, maybe you're sitting there going, oh, I've had a mild this and that, or maybe a light bulb went off going, holy shit, I didn't think that it had anything to do with that, especially when it comes to weight gain, right? Like, we immediately blame our hormones when it comes to weight gain, and relevant in some cases, yes. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover today, is like, when in doubt, let's blame it on our hormones, right? Especially, again, if you're in my generation or you're 35 and older, everything starts to change hormonally once you hit 35. Sometimes it's even a little bit younger than that, depending on your genetics and just what you've been through. But I found personally that once I hit 35, and of course, most of you guys know, I had our two children, girls, later on in life in my late 30s. And if you've had your babies in your late 30s, you know that they called you a geriatric mother. I was like, fuck you. I am probably stronger and in better health than you are, that just told me I was a geriatric, because you're sitting there with 50 pounds overweight. Anyways, I digress. And I'm certainly not trying to be a judgy bitch, but it's so interesting how much of a label we get put on as older mothers, despite our health, I have a couple girlfriends that are in the pre and postpartum space as far as focusing on athleticism. And if you guys listen to my past 2 interviews, go listen to the one that I had with Brianna Battles and Christine Zifra. Those 2 women are extraordinary. And my friend Christine just went through her first pregnancy and is going through the whole postpartum drill right now. And Brianna has this incredible coaching program, certification platform to serve athletes and coaches to help support women like this, or women that just need the tools to understand how to support themselves, or, as their profession, help others if they work in studios. But it's just fascinating. My point in bringing those 2 podcasts up, which again, a plug, go listen to them. These women are just profoundly intelligent and funny, and I'm so honored to be able to call them friends. And I'm fortunate that I have so many friends like them that are just as badass and very, very intelligent in this space. But if you guys recall when you first had your babies, like when I was pregnant with our oldest, it was like I was a bull in the china shop, like they always, all the things like don't lift over 20 pounds and be really careful about getting your heart rate up and don't lay on your back for an extended amount of time, like blah blah blah. Like those things were alarming, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't do this. Like, I shouldn't go and lift a heavier weight than that 5 pounds because they told me I shouldn't lift more than 20, instead of it being relevant to the person. Like, I was already active in the gym. Like, my husband and I, we went to the gym all the time. So, and I still went pregnant, but I definitely softened my efforts in the gym just because, oh, I'm pregnant. I wouldn't want to harm anything. And you know what? For those that do, and I am very sensitive to those that do tend to have higher complications during pregnancies, I'm speaking to my own experience. I was very fortunate in all 4 of my pregnancies, even the first 2 in the early 20s, and then the later 2 in my later 30s. They were still relatively easy, different type of easy, if you will, when it comes to just how my body was feeling and what I was going through. But all that to be said, they give you this blanket information on what to do and what not to do. And then, just pour, gasoline on the fire when you're already feeling like labored in as far as your physical sense, and they call you a geriatric in your later 30s. Like, can we just rebrand that? Can we, like, is there anyone out there that can like put in a plug and rebrand that terminology? And maybe it has. I mean, I am so far from having more kids, and my husband has taken measures to assure that doesn't happen, which I know is not bulletproof, but I will take the 99.9% odds. Thank you. And I've figured out my ovulation cycle, so doubling down on that. Which, ladies, if you are attempting to get off birth control and you're like, oh, but I don't want to get pregnant, learn your cycle. Okay. There's so much content out there, and I have information on my website and on how you can track and understand your hormone cycling, because it's really imperative that you do. If you do still have a cycle, then you need to know what your follicular phase is, your ovulation phase, your luteal phase, and of course your menstrual phase. Like, everybody kind of knows that. But if you haven't had one of those in a long time, get off birth control. Let your body start to kind of reacclimate to where it's supposed to be in its natural sense, as far as like harmonizing with your hormones, and allow it to naturally get back into having a cycle so you can naturally ease your way into menopause. Okay. Menopause, like, hands down, regardless, ladies, we are going to fucking go through it, unless you've had hysterectomy and forced your way into it, and won't experience that. But for those that have not, then allow your body, like, that's just a natural process. So biological women are going to go through menopause, period, hands down, like, end of story. So we can embrace it and learn the suck factor that comes with it. But my whole point to coming on and sharing with you guys today about kind of when in doubt, blame it on the hormones, is it's the first line of defense that we will throw out there. Like, well, I'm not losing weight because of my hormones. I'm not losing weight because I'm in perimenopause. I'm not losing weight because fill in the blank, right? And yes, it does get harder to lose weight as we get older because things change. And 9 times out of 10, the things that actually change, and yeah, hormones, I'm going to set that aside just for a hot second, as our lifestyle choices. As we get older, our stress levels go through the roof because we are juggling our kids and their schedules. You know what? Like, the mom game in our generation is so escalated. It's crazy. Like, we can't stand to have our kids bored because our kids can't stand to be bored because they drive us fucking nuts if they are, right? We love them. Okay. Especially my older kids. You guys are listening to this. We love you guys. We do. But they don't know what it's like to be bored, right? And they have these handheld computers now that takes the boredom away. And instead they can just get like hypnotized by Snapchat and TikTok and brainwashed by all of the shit that we are trying to unwind for them as parents. And that is stressful. And that is elevating our cortisol hormone. So there is a layer of hormones that tend to come into play when it's difficult to lose weight, right? But lifestyle choices definitely is usually the biggest culprit. right? Especially if you're getting older, you might find that you wind down with wine more. You might go out for a happy hour more with your friends. You might be eating less because you're so stressed out, or you still have the mentality of your teenage self. If you were a child of the 80s and 90s and you grew up in that diet culture of low calories, no sugar, no fat bullshit, right? Like, do you know how hard it is to retrain yourself to actually eat fat and knowing that it's not making you fat? Or, oh my God, what about a carbohydrate? Like, oh no, I do well on low carbs. What the fuck? Why? Unless it's medically necessary, like, and you're working out, you're lifting weights, you fucking need carbs. I'm sorry. I don't know who told you didn't, but they should be fired. Um, but, and again, I will say that there is a medical necessity on some cases that going low carb is necessary. Okay. But generally not for a long period of time. And I'm not going to go into all these different fads of diets and, and bash any one way, because there's not one strategy that is beneficial for everyone. That's why I don't recommend, oh, you should just do intermittent fasting. Oh, you should do keto. Oh, like, everybody has to find their own resolve when it comes to a nutrition strategy. And that's exactly what my programming is I speak to finding a nutrition strategy that is right for you. And most times people that are coming to me are lifting weights. They are working out. They have come to terms with, my workouts have changed. I love lifting weights. I was doing cardio forever. I was a cardio queen. I would go to all the jazzercise classes or all the turbo kick classes and hit and high and like all these great formats, but that's all they were doing. And then they kind of flipped the script a little bit and said, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, muscle is cool. Muscle is cool. And that's what I'm trying to teach my teenage daughter, is like, having muscle is the fucking raddest thing in all the land. There's nothing more like confidence inducing than having muscle as a female. And I'm not to say, like, I'm not going like, go bodybuild and, go get yourself jacked so you can, if that's your jam, go for it. But I'm just speaking to the general sense. Having muscle is exactly where it's at. And that is really what I'm trying to encourage women of my age, even younger, is to learn that now, especially my teenagers. Like, learn what it's like to have muscle. It will save you so much in the long run, because cardio is great and there's a benefit to it, but it's not the end all be all. And it's certainly not the only tool that you should have in order to be healthy. Lift weights. Okay, back to the hormone thing. We want to slam that out and be the excuse instead of like reflecting on our lifestyle. And those are the things I want to really feature here. And I just kind of had the intention of making this kind of a short and sweet one. I've got some awesome interviews coming up, by the way. So be sure you guys stay tuned for that. But take a little bit of a gut check, if you will, on your lifestyle. Okay. So we've obviously recognize we are 9 ways to breakfast when it comes to our kids' activities. They are in 3 sports. You're the PTA president, you volunteer in your kids' classroom, you're picking up and dropping off from school that might be like 20, 30 minutes away. So you're always in the car. And you run a business or you work from home. So you got to balance that, because your boss kind of wants you to get some shit done. And you have to be on a Zoom call, but then you have to go take your kid to the dentist appointment. And then you have a gynecology appointment. And then you need to go and get your teeth cleaned. And right. Are you exhausted yet? Because like, I need to take a sip of water. Is that not your life? That's my life. And you might have traveling spouses, or you may travel yourself for work. So our level of stress is sky high, because we're trying to do everything and anything, and we stress about it not getting done right. We stress about not being there for our kids' performance, or missing a game because we had to go to another kid's activity, or we had a meeting we had to go to, or we have to travel, and that takes a toll, and that elevates our cortisol levels. And when our cortisol levels are high, it is near impossible to lose weight. All right. And then when our cortisol levels are high, guess what? We're probably not sleeping well, right? Probably getting 5-6 hours of sleep, and maybe it's shitty 5 and 6 hours of sleep, intermittent. You might be up, you might have to go to the bathroom, you have a kid come in and interrupt you, like me last night. I was just like thinking the other day, I'm like, God, it's been so nice. The girls have actually slept so well. They're 9 and 7. Like, they can sleep through the night, but sometimes there's just like, I had a bad dream, and then it's just like perpetual, just kind of all, through the week. It just keeps They keep coming down. Now they're in a routine. So I jinxed myself and I had one that woke up and it came down 3 times starting at 2 a.m. So my sleep was totally piss poor. And so I owned that and knew it. I'm like, you know what? Going to the gym at my usual early hour time is not going to fare well for me. So I'm not going. I'm going to sleep in, give myself an extra 2 hours of sleep. I did, still got up, got to do their lunches, and went to yoga instead. So I got to move my body. Don't worry. You guys were stressed about that. But my point is that our lifestyle choices have changed. So when our cortisol levels are high, we're not sleeping well. We're probably going to bed late because we don't get done with doing the whole kid thing until 8:30, 9 o'clock. And guess what? Mommy needs some chill time. So that means I need to sit and veg on a TV, or I'm going to go senselessly scroll my social media and just see what's going on in the world, right? And then guess what? It's built to distract you and keep you engaged. And oh, one more reel. Oh, one more story. Oh, I want to see what's on the stories now. I should probably check my email before I go to bed just to make sure I don't miss anything. And then guess what? You put your phone right next to your bed. Am I falling in line with kind of what your schedule is? You put your phone next to your bed because it's your alarm. And then guess what? Your alarm goes off or you roll over because you can't sleep. What do? You grab your phone. Right? And then you sit there in bed with that bright ass screen in your face. And, maybe you have the pillow over it so it doesn't wake up your husband. And then you are like, oh God, fine, I got to go back to sleep. Put the phone down, make sure your alarm's set. And then an hour and a half later, your alarm goes off and you are so tired. And you've just had this like utter brain fuck all night because your phone's just been like chirping at you, right? Like maybe subconsciously it's not, your notifications are set to do not disturb, but it's right next to your head. And maybe a conspiracy theory, whatever, totally happy to put my tin hat on, but I do think it is definitely toxic to have your phone right next to your bed. I think I'm a fan of putting it into another room. I'm pointing behind me because I put it in my bathroom, which is over there. And I have an old school alarm. I went on Amazon, believe it or not, and I bought a ghetto alarm, set it, and it beeps like an annoying, whatever that sound you can think that you just want to throw something across the room when it goes off. That's what it does. And guess what? It gets my ass out of bed. And then, I will leave my phone, I'll brush my teeth, I'll put on my workout gear, and I sit and I read my devotional, meditate for 5-10 minutes, depending on how much time I have. And then I might look at my phone before I head to the gym. So eliminate some of that influence can make a massive change. So again, going back to your lifestyle choices, your bedtime routine, what's that wind down routine look like? When you're tired, you make shittier choices with your nutrition. So you're like, I eat clean. And I did a reel on this. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you scrub your vegetables? Like, great, fantastic. But what does clean eating mean? We all have a different interpretation and a different version of it. So I want to challenge you to really reflect and go, what do I mean when I say I eat clean? Right? Do you know, and I'm talking to the person that goes to the gym and does their workout every day or goes for a run or is physically active in some sense. Do you even know how much food you take in? Do you know that you're getting enough calories? In by way of calories, I mean the appropriate amount of macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Do you know that you're getting in enough of that every single day to support the efforts that you put in at the gym? And then to support your energetic needs to show up for your family and to perform at your job so you get the results that your boss is expecting or that you expect because you're an entrepreneur? Are you eating enough to support that? Have you even taken awareness of it? Like, do you write it down? Do you maybe log it on MyFitnessPal or whatever app? And if you don't, how come? Because it's fucking hard and it's one more thing to do. And I'd even go so deep to say, because it's going to force you to be open to the fact that you don't eat well at all. Your version of clean eating is like, I eat well Monday through Wednesday. Thursday comes around, I'm fucking done with the week and I'm ready to go into having my wine and my cocktail at night. And then it's just a cycle that goes on rinse and repeat. Am I right? Am I getting close? Okay. Hello. Like, I think I wrote the book on this whole like lifestyle, and I'm not saying that like, I don't enjoy a cocktail. Like I do. But I prefer to get through my week and really be level-headed and clear and focused and intentional because it matters to me. I know I feel better and I'll go and enjoy my cocktail when I feel like it. Like I'm not I don't drink on Monday through Friday. If a friend invites me out for, happy hour or something and it happens to be on a Monday and I'm like have the ability to do it, I'm going to do it because connections are important to me. And that's a lifestyle choice that I make because it makes me feel like I have something, I have a love and a support and a community that I can rely on. And those are my friends, and they're super important to me, because it's hard, as you get older, to make time for that. So when you do have the capacity to do it, act on it. But if it's I have something every single night that I'm out drinking, take a little, take a self-assessment on it. Okay. But going back to our lifestyle choices, those are like really the big pieces there is, what our sleep routines are, the amount of stress that we have because we have this, that, and everything else that we're trying to fit in a 24-hour period. So we compromise our sleep, right? But we still go to the gym and we're working out, but we're not seeing results, right? But yet we eat clean, but we refuse to log it because that's one more thing to do. But yet we still want to bitch and moan that we're not losing weight, right? So, where could you change certain aspects of your lifestyle? Where could you go, okay, something's got to give? Like, when do you get to the point of being sick and tired of this kind of like, Groundhog's Day? And that's the word I was looking for. I know there's a movie too, when it's like same thing over and over, and I can't remember. If you guys think of it and can remind me, just like send me a DM on Instagram or in the show or in the comments here. But it's like Groundhog's Day. You get up and you do the same thing over and over, and you're like, okay, well, tomorrow's a new day. Or my favorite is, I'll start again on Monday. Like, start what you're gonna like diet on Monday? Why not start at your next meal? Why don't you just start now? Like, how much water are you drinking? Write everything down. It's not that hard. And for those that have that like layer of it's just overwhelming for me to do it, take a fucking picture of your meal. Like, literally, everyone has their phone. Just take your, I don't even have my phone here. Holy God. Look at that. Take a picture of your meal and then go, I will log that tonight. And you put a reminder in your phone and you go on and you open up your MyFitnessPal and you log everything in your meal, or in your log, and because you took a picture of it, so you don't forget what you ate. And if you forgot that you ate something, or you think you're going to forget, just take a picture of it, right? And then as you get to be a boss at this, and then you're going, holy shit, I'm only eating 900 calories. No wonder I can't lose weight. I need to hire Taryn. Or you need to actually participate in my next course, because it's going to be fucking awesome. And we'll be launching that here May 15th. So make sure, that's my second time that I'm launching it this year. And this is really going to be for those that are in the gym. They are going and working out. They are not seeing the results, and they are trying to push themselves. They want to see that performance increase in the gym. They want to see that body composition shift, and it's just not. That's what I cover in my macro course. So you're going to want to be on the lookout for that. You can go to my website, tarynperry.com, and get a ton of content and value. And then to make that self-assessment, that is a one thing that I'm not doing. I can change the time that I go to bed. I can change and move my phone out of the room, but I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing with my clean eating strategy, aside from saying that I'm eating clean. Right? I don't really know how much protein, fats, and carbohydrates I need. I know I need protein, but I think if I eat too much, I might get fat, or I might bulk, right? Like, all of these things and these misguided interpretations of nutrition is out there. And I really want to debunk a lot of that. And I do that in my course. So if I can give you one thing to do, getting off and listening to this podcast, take one full day and go through and do a true gut check on your lifestyle and what you do day in and day out, and what are the time wasters, and where do you know you need to refine a few things. And if that's your nighttime routine, start there, right? Like, cut yourself off your phone 45 minutes to an hour. If you can do 2 hours, awesome. No email. You know what? That email that comes in at 8 o'clock, you don't need to answer it. Okay. You can wait. It can wait until the morning. Nothing is going to change if you answer that email at 8:01 in PM versus if you answered at 7 o'clock because you got adequate sleep, you have a fresh head, you're like not emotional and tired, you're fresh, right? Brain fog is clear. Don't answer those emails at 8 o'clock. And you know what? Set a timer. You want to like, just have 5 minutes to spend on social media just to catch up with the day. Great. Spend 5 minutes, set a timer, or go into your screen time and set it for yourself if you don't trust yourself, and have it shut off so you can't be on Instagram any longer. Like, put those tools in place. And that's one of the kind of cool things about these handheld computers we have. There's so many things on there that we probably don't use, but might be really helpful to your lifestyle. All right. And then also, like, where can you hire help, or where can you kind of lessen the stress load that you have because of all the things you need to accomplish in one day, right? Like, do you have to do everything? Like, do you have to be the PTA president and be at every single, be on every single committee? Like, maybe not, especially if it's affecting your health. And if you want to be quick to say, well, but you know what, Taryn, it's my hormones. Well, yeah, your hormones are fucking pissed because you're not nourishing yourself. You're not eating. Your workouts are completely depleting them even more so because you are so overworked and you're not giving them time to replenish. And I say that in that they aren't replenishing overnight, obviously, because our hormones do deplete as we get older. However, your cortisol needs to be replenished. We don't need to be in a heightened state of high cortisol, high stress all the time. Your body does need to be able to get through a day without having high stress. And maybe you're like, oh, well, sorry, Taryn, that's just my life. I'm high stress all the time. It's my job, being a mom, blah, blah, blah. Totally get it. So can you do that for me? For yourself. I mean, fuck it, it's not for me, for yourself. Can you go and start taking inventory of your lifestyle choices and truly go, you know what? I do drink every single night. And you know what? I don't eat enough. And start there. Yes, go get your blood drawn, go get your hormone panels done. I highly recommend, if you haven't done that, to do that and do it often just to stay on top of it. Go find a professional that is a hormone specialist. Not every MD knows exactly what to do except for going, oh, yeah, everything's normal. But yet you don't feel normal? Like, push back, like, be an advocate for yourself. But in the meantime, take control of the things that you can control right now. And that's what you eat. That's what you drink. That's the time that you give yourself to go to bed and have a restful night's sleep. And if you aren't having a restful night's sleep, take a look at your lifestyle choices and why you are not. That is my speech, my PSA for the day. I hope this was something that made you go, totally, I need to make those changes. Something has to change in my life, or else I'm not going to change. I've got you. I say this with love. And of course I say this like I'm a straight shooter, but if you're not willing to take a reflection on what that means in your life and what those changes are, nobody else can. And you don't want to get to the point where it's that much harder to climb out of it. Right. And go, oh God, I wish I would have just done, like, go figure out what clean eating means to you and write it down so it's very apparent as to what it is and where it needs to be adjusted so you can have a really strong nutrition strategy that supports your lifestyle. All right. Okay, be on the lookout. I will be sending out the registration for my course that opens up May 15th. I'll have a workshop that will kind of enlighten you on what's going on and what to expect. And until then, you guys know my DMs are open. I'm going to drop some helpful links here in the show notes so you guys can go and take a look at what I was referring to on my website about hormones and all those good things. I just want you guys to find resolve, because you know what? As soon as you become an advocate for your health and you become a scientist and you go and collect your own data, you will find you get to be in control and in the driver's seat, and you'll rely less on the system, the healthcare system, to get you healthy. And that is my goal, is to help you become an advocate for yourself instead of relying on the system to mask all of the nonsense that you can unwind and recreate yourself in a healthy fashion. All right. All right. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. Thank you for listening. If you found this helpful, I would love it if you would share it with somebody. Tag me on Instagram if you read it, or if there's something, or read it. If you listened, you're like, oh my God, this made so much sense. You guys got to go listen. I'd love it. I'd be honored. And until then, I'll look forward to having some really great stuff for you guys coming up in the coming episodes. All right. Peace out.